Again, 4 wide receiver set. We'll make it 2nd and 4. As Vassar will hand off the ball, but we're going to have a stoppage in play and an illegal procedure against the Ohio Bears. That'll make it 2nd and 9 for the visitors making their way out of Columbus, Ohio. That'll push the Ohio Bears back to the Cobra 39-yard line. 7:04 left here in the first quarter. Bears lead 6-0 on a 7-yard touchdown pass. And we are going to be joined by Ramel Thorpe. Everything worked out. We are on the air on YouTube, the 216 Sports Network. Check it out.
Glad to be here. Finally.
Vassar waiting for the snap, pressure being shown by the Cleveland offense. Handoff up the middle. Out past the 35. Flags come in and down to the 34-yard line. We'll see what the flag was.
I actually want to jump in because that was one of the keys to the game for the Bears, which was ball control. And if they can keep the ball on their hands, and keep it out of Dave Slap Thompson's hands and Emma Calhoun's hands, they have a chance. They already caused a turnover, which is something the Cobras were good for, and they drew first blood by being on the board, and they have to stay on the field offensively. That's the second part of it. And the third part was on defense, limit the Cobras' big plays. So if they can do that, they have a shot. And for the Cobras, you got to stay focused.
Tough start for Cleveland, as it is now 1st and 10 for the Bears at the Cobras' 29-yard line. 6:08 left here first quarter. Bears with a 6-0 lead. Martez Johnson moving out to the slot on the left. 4 wide receiver set now. Vassar now rolling out to his right. Fires, and that's going to be complete at the 26-yard line. Out to the 20, and he'll be brought down inside the 20 at the 19-yard line.
That was the second part of the keys to the game. We got to control the pace of the game, and that's exactly what the Bears are doing, not in favor of the Cobras. And the third part was get turnovers. The Cobras lead the league in turnovers. If they can keep getting turnovers, they won't have a problem with, the way the pace of the game goes. But they have to stay focused and, turn over the ball and get the ball back so they can actually make the plays they need.
Derek Kane was the receiver on that catch. So 1st and 10 now from the Cobras' 19-yard line. Vassar waiting for the snap. Receivers 2 by 2. Vassar fires out to his left, looking for the corner of the end zone, and that's going to be overthrown. Pass intended for Taekwon Council, but just too far.
Great coverage by Terry Hosey out there. Hosey not opposed to sitting up and getting in the receiver's face.
Not shy going one-on-one, so took him out to the corner there, but Vassar could not hit him on the pass with just about 5 minutes left here first quarter. Again, 6-0 is your lead. Cobras with 2 early turnovers. Jerron Robertson having a tough start to the game, but long way to go in this one. Here, we are in Lakewood this week for the first time this year. The original home of the Cleveland Cobras.
Funny fact about Lakewood Stadium, that L used to be the other way facing the visitors' stands before the new turf got changed.
Tatum and Johnson will be the receivers to the far side. Vassar sending Bennett to his right side now. Back to pass, 3-step drop, rolls out to his left. He's got some room, under pressure. Kevin Green trying to get him, and then he'll finally be brought down at the 30-yard line on the sack. Kevin Green chases him down. Robert Littlejohn in on the action as well.
And that's what they needed. This is the second drive that the Bears have started in Cobra territory, so they needed this in order to not have a lot of pressure, because if the Bears score again, it'll be like it was in Columbus, where the Cobras will be playing from behind.
Yeah, we know how that turned out. An exciting second quarter down in Columbus, but not really a situation you want to be in, playing from behind that early in the game.
Yeah, especially in the playoffs. As tough as it is already to be in the playoffs, you do not want to be playing from behind.
2nd and 20 now for the Bears at the Cobras' 30-yard line. 3.5 minutes left here first quarter. Bears with the 6-0 lead. Vassar now in the shotgun, 3 receivers to the near side. Now we'll have 1 single receiver to the far side, moving left to right.
Looking for a mismatch.
Vassar with the snap, three-step drop. Steps up in a pocket under pressure, is almost brought down, gets the ball away. That's going to be incomplete. Pass was intended for Quentin Graham, but Andy Code and Kevin Green all over him.
And that's what the Cobras need. You need to get after the quarterback, because once you get after the quarterback, it shows you know how to put pressure on the quarterback and make him make throws that he's normally not used to making.
Now, you were able to see the first two matchups this year in the regular season. And, of course, a tale of two different games, one high-scoring, one defensive battle. Really not a third option here. It's just going to be he who makes less mistakes now.
Yeah, it is. And that's the beauty of the gift and the curse, rather, of playing against a team 3 times in a season. You know what to expect. You know the plays that they're going to run. But how do you change up how you do things to where now you don't have to worry so much about them. It's more they have to worry about you.
Well, the Bears now will go for it on 4th and 20 from the Cobras' 30-yard line. 2.5 minutes left here in the first quarter. Empty backfield for Vassar, who have 3 receivers to the far side and 2 single receivers to the near side. Vassar's going to step up, and it looks like he's going to change some blocking assignments as he watches for the back judge. Back to pass now, 3-step. Fires out to his left. That's going to be complete. Inside the 20, down to the 15, and then he's going to be just short of the first down. It looks like it's going to be a turnover on downs, depending on the spot. Quentin Graham caught it, and indeed the Cleveland offense will be back on the field.
Great touchdown saving tackle and great first down saving tackle. You can't just leave guys open like that, but if you do, you're playing it short, make them try to get the first down, and that's exactly what the Cobras did. Turnover on downs, and now the Cobras have another chance on offense to put some points on the board.
You don't mind giving them a little bit of a cushion, but maybe not that close.
Yeah, you can't just be that far away.
Nonetheless, we're reaching the 2-minute mark, or at least close to it here. First quarter, 6-0 is your score. The Ohio Bears capitalizing on the first turnover of the game. Excuse me, the opening kickoff of the game, actually.
And that's something you don't see often, is a turnover on the opening kickoff.
Dave Thompson in the backfield now. 3 receivers to the far side. He'll have a single receiver to the near side. Slap trying to reach down to grab the snap. Plenty of time. Fires over the middle, and he's going to be tripped up in the middle of the field. No call by the officials.
A blatant trip.
And it looks like they're going to call it. It's an incidental contact. Unfortunately for the Cobras, but you can hear the crowd kind of respond to that.
I'm with the crowd on that one. I saw what looked like a leg stick out. You know, we're up in the booth, but you can still see a lot the way this booth is set up. I don't know what the ref was looking at, but that looked like a blatant trip to me.
D'Angelo Thompson, the intended receiver on that, as they'll now be in a 2-by-2 set. Jackson Jones will be the running back to the right of Thompson. Emma Calhoun in the slot to the left. Tamir Stevens will be the outside receiver. Low snap as Thompson's going to pick it up, step up in the pocket, fires out, and it's going to be complete at the 18-yard line. And out to the 20, and might be enough for a first down.
Great play. Thompson, great play by Thompson to keep the player alive, keep his eyes downfield. Great play by whoever it was that caught that to keep the first down drive alive.
Now, the aforementioned D'Angelo Thompson on the reception. Offensive line doing a great job creating some time there, giving some room for Slap Thompson to work. Got that ball away, and I don't want to call it, that was a well-executed, I guess, play, if you want to call it that, kind of the working through things.
And what a lot of people don't realize about Thompson is if you give Thompson time, he can pick you apart. You might want to get after him.
Calhoun and Stevens in near receivers. Be a handoff up the middle out to the 28-yard line. Pickup of a couple yards. That's going to be Jackson Jones on the run.
Jackson Jones gets in there too. He's a great running back for this Cobras team. Like, the Cobras have a plethora of everything you would want as a coach, from receivers to linemen to running backs on offense. It's just they gel at the right time, which is a great thing for them. And I think now that they know that they can gel at the right time, they're looking a lot better on the field.
Just about 25 seconds left here in the first quarter. Looks like we'll get about one more playoff here before the end of the first period. Thompson in the shotgun. Jackson to his left. 3 receivers to the far side. Pressure being shown by the Ohio Bears. Thompson stepping up in the pocket. Fires. Looking for Stevens downfield. And it's going to be picked off at the 30-yard line. And he'll bring it out to the 35, 40, and it'll be upended at the 44-yard line.
Stevens mistimed his jump.
Third turnover of the day already for the Cobras. Third turnover of the quarter, actually. As the first quarter will come to the end, we're going to step aside for a 60-second break. You're listening to Tri-Point Football League playoff action right here on Western Reserve Radio. Back in 60 seconds.
Shamrock.
Out underway here with the Cobras trailing the Ohio Bears 6-0. The Ohio Bears capitalize on a turnover in the first quarter. They get a 7-yard touchdown reception as they'll come out 2 receivers side by side now. They'll be moving right to left on your devices. 1st and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Vassar waiting for the snap. One running back to his left hip. Vassar looking for a receiver, rolling around, trying to create time. Andy Code after him. And he's going to get blocked. He's going to fire over the middle. Robert Littlejohn had a shot at it.
Littlejohn
at the 48-yard line.
He has a clear path to the end zone if he holds on to that.
And judging by his posture, I think he knows that.
There's no way you cannot know that. You keep that in your hands, no one's catching you.
Well, in fairness, if Littlejohn could catch, he'd be a receiver, I guess.
You know what? That's what they tell us all. And he's not even he's not even a DB, but that's what they used to tell all the DBs. If you could catch, you'd be a wide receiver, but you can't, so now you're a DB. And in this case, you're a linebacker.
Good play by Robert Littlejohn in the right place. 2nd and 10 now at the Bears' 45-yard line. Vassar with the 2x2 receivers. Handoff up the middle. Running back will cut to the left. One cut, and Donovan Mormon's going to get him maybe for a pickup of 1, but a flag comes in late, and in the initial call is going to be a hold against the Ohio Bears, which I'm sure the Cobras will be happy to take.
Yeah, and that's what we said last week about the Kings. The Kings had a lot of penalties. Well, not last week, but 2 weeks ago. The Kings had a lot of penalties, and they needed to limit those. But, you know, penalties do end up hurting you. If the longer you are on the field and the more you go backwards as an offense, it hurts because you got to cover more ground now.
14:05 left here in the second quarter. The Ohio Bears lead 6-0. The first quarter ending with, in the beginning and the end, with a Cobra turnover. It's been a rough start, but the Bears have only been able to capitalize on 1 touchdown. Quentin Graham, the receiver to the near side now. Vassar waiting for the snap. He's going to have 3 receivers to the far side. Back to pass, 3-step drop, looking out to his left. He's going to fire, and it's going to be complete at the 43-yard line. Quentin Graham on the reception. Seems to be one of his favorite targets out there.
Yeah, it looks like Hosey's injured on that play, too.
He's going to come off holding his ankle. We'll see how that works for him as the Cobras will take a timeout. 13:32 left here, second quarter. The Ohio Bears leave 6-0. We're going to step aside for a 30-second break. You're listening to Cleveland Cobras football right here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network.
Snow Creek Golf Course features to 18-hole championship courses.
.32 left here second quarter as we come out of the Cobras timeout. Bears with a 6-0 lead, and this game so far looking more like the defensive battle we saw in the first one.
Yeah, and I expected that, not only because it's playoff time, but because, like I said, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the season, the same team 3 times in the season, and they've come to know each other's tendencies. So don't be surprised if this game is a lot closer than the one in Columbus a couple months back.
Martez Johnson, Antonio Tatum, 2 of the receivers out to the far side, 2 of the 3, as Vassar waits for the signal for play. Graham, the receiver to the near side. Vassar rolling out to his right, trying to direct traffic. Under pressure, he's going to run it past the 45, 50. Midfield, he'll make it into Cobra's territory. He'll be brought down at the Cobra 42-yard line. That'll be a first down for the Ohio Bears.
And that's the scary part about Vassar is he can run as well as throw. You have to be aware of that as a Cobras defender.
So the Cobras giving up a big play on third down.
Cobras have to get off the field. They have to get off the field on third down.
It seems like they've done very well on first and second down, but those third downs have been tough for them so far.
And that's something you're going to have to get rid of as a problem for the rest of the game. You got to get off the field on third down.
Trip receivers to the near side now, as Irby will move to the left side of Vassar. Vassar rolling out to his left, looking downfield. Has a receiver, and it's going to be almost intercepted by the Cobras at the 15-yard line, but it's going to go in and out of the hands of the defender. And I believe that's going to be Craig Williams, who's had a pretty good season here this year.
And Craig knows better.
And you can just tell, again, by the body language, he should have had that one.
Craig has been with the team a couple years now, as well as Little John. You can't miss opportunities like that to get the ball back and get the defense off the field.
That pass intended for Quentin Graham. Defender getting good position on the inside. And it looks like Tyree Knight will step in for Hosey. We hope whatever he has is not going to be a big deal here. Maybe he can make his way back in after halftime. 12:27 left in here, second quarter. The Bears with a 6-0 lead. They'll come out now with 3 receivers to the near side and 1 receiver to the far side. Irby will move to the right of Vassar in the backfield. Vassar back to pass, looking out to his left, stepping up in the pocket, fires over the middle. It's going to be complete at the 30, and he'll be brought down. He'll be given credit to the 31-yard line. And it looks like that was going to be Derek Kane on the catch.
Yeah, Derek Kane had a couple good games against the Cobras. He's had a good season. He's that possession receiver that you need that'll go across the middle and is not afraid to catch with a linebacker or a safety breathing down his neck. Very good play and very good catch by King.
So Najee Rax will check out for the Bears. And the Ohio Bears will be 2-2 in the formation again. Irby to the left of Vassar. 1st and 10 from the Cobras 31-yard line. Vassar to hand off to Irby, tries to find his way out to the right side, past the 30, inside the 30 and down to the 28-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 3 for the Bears. And somebody calling for a trainer. Well, whatever it was, wasn't that serious. Got back up and we'll move on here. So second down now for the Bears, who have moved the ball steady here, but have only been able to capitalize one time in the red zone. Just under 11 minutes left here, second quarter. Vassar now in a shotgun. Irby will be lined up behind him about 3 yards. 2 receivers to each side. Martez Johnson will be the outside receiver. Vassar with the pitch on the reverse. Out past the 30, inside the 25. Make one move and he'll be down at the 23-yard line. That's going to be Antonio Tatum on the carry on the reverse. They'll pick up some yards on that, but it won't be enough for a first down. 3rd and 2 now for the Bears.
And this is where the Cobras have to get off the field. I'm not going to stress that enough. The Cobras need to rest on defense. If they can't get the rest on defense, the offense won't see the field. It'll be a 12-10 or 12-0 game before anything happens.
1st and 10 now for the Bears at the Cobra 23-yard line. 3rd and 2 for the Bears. 9:55 left here second quarter. Only a 6-0 game. As Johnson now in motion from left to right. 3 receivers now to the far side. Vassar with the handoff to Irby. Irby trying to find his way out the left side, past the 20, inside the 20, down at the 18-yard line. And that'll be enough for another Bears first down.
There's got to be some type of defensive adjustment at halftime with this. The 3-man front's not necessarily hurting the Cobras, but it's not helping either.
And certainly the 3 turnovers in the first quarter, not a good thing for the Cobras. It's given the Bears a lot of opportunity as the Cobras will now take their second time out of the half. So we will step aside for a 30-second break. You are listening to Tri-Point Football playoff action right here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. Left here in the second quarter, the Bears with a 6-0 lead. They'll have the ball 1st and 10 at the Cobras' 18-yard line. Slowly but surely making the way down the field are the Ohio Bears on this very methodical drive. Cobras defense has got to be getting tired at this point. They've been on the field a lot.
They've been on the field all game virtually, as the 3 turnovers haven't helped keep the offense on the field.
Najee Rax will be the running back now to the left of Deion Vassar. Stacked 2 wide receivers to the left. Rax will move to the right of Vassar. And the 2 wide receivers to the far side. Hand off to Rax. He's going to make one spin move past the 20 and down near the 15-yard line. That's going to be a pickup of 3 for the Bears. And hit the B button there, and Rax able to make a nice move to avoid that initial tackle.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the tackler did not break down, and anytime you get that clean in the backfield, you have to make that tackle.
9:05 left here, first half of this second-round playoff game. As Derek Kane and Cameron Needham will be the receivers to the far side this time. Martez Johnson and Quentin Graham will be the receivers to the near side. Rax will continue to be the running back to the right of Vassar. Vassar waiting for the snap. 3-step drop. Looks over the middle. Plenty of time. Under pressure now. Rolls around. He's going to be brought down by Kevin Green at the 35-yard line, and that's going to be a loss of, let's just call it a ton.
And that's the problem when you're back there as a quarterback. You cannot dance around. You have to get rid of the ball. And Vassar knew that, but unfortunately, he did not decide to throw the ball. He wanted to spin move and get out of what might look like a sack. But at the same time, you have to know as a quarterback, you don't have that much time. You got to get rid of the ball.
Cameron Scott having a little post-play conversation with the Bears, letting them know how wonderful Kevin Green really is. 2 receivers to the near side now for the Bears. That'll be Graham and Johnson. Rack still the running back. Vassar back to pass.
There's a shot coming.
Stepping up, Andy Coe trying to seal him off. Ball's thrown down towards the corner of the end zone. That's going to be incomplete. Nothing but black and green jerseys down there. And the Cobras defense once again stands up, but this will be the big down for Cleveland now.
Yeah, last time they gave up almost a fourth down play. This time they have to get off the field and get another turnover on downs. And hopefully the defense will stand up and make a positive stand and not allow this first down. Expect the shot coming here, Jim.
Well, they're going to call it 4th and 23 from the Cobras' 32-yard line. That big sack by Kevin Green. All the difference in this drive.
And if you're the Cobras defending defense in the secondary, you got to know a shot's coming. It's either coming deep in the end zone or it's going towards the sticks. So you got to protect both.
Not much of a kicking game for either team.
Come on, Jim. You know this is semi-pro. You're lucky. If you get a kicker, you're a championship team. You know that doesn't happen often.
The kickers are the unicorns at this level, as the Ohio Bears will take a timeout with 6:51 left here in the second quarter. We're going to step aside for a 30-second break. You're listening to Tri-Point Playoff football action right here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. Back after this.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier.
Left here in the half, as Vassar now will have two running backs in the backfield. He'll be joined by Joe Pettis to his left, Brax to his right.
This looks like a weird punt formation.
Yeah, it could be a quick kick, as now both running backs will run into a slot position, and indeed it will be a quick kick. It's going to be a high one, and it'll land inside the 20, right around the 19, and it's going to get an Ohio bounce, and it's going to be batted back. There's a flag on. No, excuse me. That's a beanbag now. They've gone from the blue to the orange beanbags.
Yeah, that messed me up last week, 2 weeks ago too. That's something you gotta. It's something you gotta just.
It's very attention getting. So even where the ball is spotted now, it's kind of exciting.
It makes it look like a penalty.
It sure does. It sure does. So 6:41 left here in the second half. The Cobras will get the ball down 6-0.
And that's the beauty of this game. Even with the turnovers, the Cobras are still in the game.
And you know what? That's got to be frustrating for Coach Adam Rogerson, who's, you're playing. You've got talent on the team, but the mistakes are really holding you back.
If you limit the mistakes, you won't have that issue. You'll be back in this game. The sooner the better. All you have to do is fix the mistakes.
And should you get the opportunity, we'll be popping around the internet for scores, so if you would be so kind.
Bless you.
Okay, little off-air sneezing now. 3 receivers to the near side for the Cobras. It'll be 1st and 10 at their own 24-yard line. Thompson in the shotgun as he waits for the snap. Thompson, 3-step drop, looking to fire, rolls out to his right. He's going to unload it. That's going to be incomplete at the 31-yard line. That pass was intended for Andre Daniels, who's come up really big in the last couple games.
Yeah, Daniels is really a good receiver. He just has to hold on to the ball. He can break it open. He can catch across the middle. He can make the long-handed 90-yard catch, as we saw 2 weeks ago against the Kings. He can do it all.
Clock continues to run with 6:21 left here in the second quarter. 2nd and 10 at the Cobras' 24-yard line. Only score of this game, a 7-yard touchdown pass to Quentin Graham that put the Ohio Bears on top 6-0. Thompson now with 2 receivers to the near side. Low snap, handoff up the middle, past the 25. He brought down at the 26-yard line. So a little power running by the Cobras. And that's going to be Dominic Klotman on the run. He's been a little banged up, but it's good to see him back out there.
Yeah, it's really good to see Dominic back out there. Even with the injuries, he's still a great running back. Known him for a long time. It's one of those guys you got to have on your team. He's a great guy to be around.
You know, and it's the kind of he's the prototypical prototypical running back they're looking for now. Big, low to the ground, strong. And he really has that, that optimal look.
And it works.
Snap back there. Thompson wasn't ready for it. He's going to step up under pressure, trying to get rid of it, and he's going to be brought down at the 15-yard line. That's going to be a 12-yard loss for the Cobras. Thompson looking for the face mask call. He won't get it. Wasn't ready for that snap.
They did kind of mob him, but, yeah, that's a bad miscommunication between the quarterback and center. Got to get that together.
Not sure who it was that mounted him from behind, jumped on him, but Thompson, maybe we'll call him typically bigger than most quarterbacks. But Joe Pettis, I'm told, is a guy that kind of tried to rear naked choke him from behind.
These defensive ends are ruthless, man.
So that'll bring up 4th and 19 at the Cobra 15-yard line. 4:22 left here. Second quarter, 6-0 is your score, with the Ohio Bears leading. Jerron Robertson looks a little confused getting on and off the field. Wasn't sure we wanted to go, but he and D'Angelo Thompson will come in. As the Cobras use a plethora of different personnel, DeAndre Thompson will come off for the Cobras. Empty backfield now for Thompson. 3 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side. 4th and 19 again from their own 15. Rack showing pressure at the line. Thompson, he'll kick it away. It's going to be a good kick to the 45-yard line, but it's going to be returned up the middle of the 40, 35, and down to the 30-yard line. It was a little bit of an awkward thing. Everybody kind of stopped, but Willie James on the return, and we're told by the coaching staff he's a big-time player on special teams.
And James almost showed it. He could have just broke that game wide open.
Looked kind of awkward, like everybody had stopped, maybe like a fair catch. But
I thought it was a fair catch, but you got to signal that so the refs can see it, and there was no signal. He just set himself up to get yards.
So 3.5 minutes left here in the second quarter. Ohio Bears will get another shot. 1st and 10 from the Cobras' 30-yard line. They spent a lot of time in Cleveland territory today.
And expect that to happen when you can't move the ball offensively. And if you're the Cobras, you got to make some adjustments.
Kane and Needham will be the receivers to the far side for the Bears. Johnson will go in motion right to left with Graham to the left now. A little bit of confusion on the handoff. Vassar will try to make something of it. He'll pick up a couple of yards on it. They'll give him a credit for 1, so it'll be 2nd and 9 after the 1-yard pickup. A little miscommunication in the backfield there.
Yeah, center gets you the ball, but you and the running back have to talk as a quarterback. And it looked like it was supposed to be a give, but he was trying to read the defensive end. And by that time, it's just a busted play. So just get what you can.
And as you look down at the Ohio Bears, you look at some of the size that they have on that team. Rather impressive up front.
Well, it's Columbus. They are no strangers to having linemen at all levels.
Vassar now waiting for the snap. Receivers 2 by 2. He'll look immediately downfield. That's going to be caught at the 25-yard line by Johnson, and he'll get down. They'll call it the 23-yard line. They'll say he went out of bounds, but that won't be enough for Bears first down here as the clock runs with 2.5 minutes left.
I think the Bears are playing this smart, getting the yards they need, trying to get the first down while milking the clock at the same time. Good strategy going into the half.
So 3rd and 3. I'll make that 3rd and 2 for the Cobras. Let me get this. I'll get this right tonight. I'll tell you, the Ohio Bears at the 28-yard line. Get a little excited sometimes. Get all over the map. So 2 minutes, just under 2 minutes left here in the second quarter. Vassar in the shotgun. Irby to his right. 4 wide receiver set. Vassar looking out to his left. He'll roll out to his right now. Try to find a receiver. Fires out to the left. He's going to find Johnson out at the 15-10. Flag on the play. And we're going to call it a chop block against the Ohio Bears, and they're going to have a Cobra down on the field. Looks like that's going to be a Donovan Moorman.
And he's one of the guys you can't afford to lose.
Stephen Bennett for the Bears looks kind of confused, but you could see Moorman go down holding his legs. And the official throwing the flag. So that's going to be a 15-yard penalty for the Bears.
And that's what's really killed the Bears on the offensive side of the game. Penalties, you can't avoid them. And it's always something that you know you shouldn't be doing. A chop block, a hold. You know, the Bears have had good plays, but how can you keep the consistent momentum if all you got is penalties racking up?
Well, penalties and turnovers will give you a 6-0 game going into the half. We know that for sure.
Yeah. So the Cobras ought to be thankful going into the half. If they don't get the ball back, at least they know they have a shot. They still have a shot going into the second half of this game where they can come back and win.
And we know there's a couple more playoff games going on right now here in the Tri-Point Football League. So anybody out at those games, if you can send us some scores, we'd love to pass them along to the listeners here on any one of our platforms on Western Reserve Radio and YouTube with the 216 Sports Network. We've got it all. We've got graphics. We've got video as they're going to help a Donovan Moorman off the field. He looks like he's in some pain, and that's a little bit heartbreaking to see him come off the field.
And that's probably going to be the rallying point for the Cobras.
And we talked about how the front four has kind of been the soul of this Cleveland Cobras football team, and you certainly don't want to see that. You don't want to see that happen to anybody, especially this late in the season.
Of course not. No,
but
you never want an injury. You want everybody to go home safe. Even when it's Ohio State and Michigan, you want that team up north to at least go home healthy so you can beat them again next year.
Well, we'll see about that one. We'll have to put a survey out and see how people feel about that one. So 1:23 left here as the Bears now have it 3rd and 27 from their own 47-yard line. Vassar back to pass, under pressure, steps up in the pocket, had his jersey pulled, but gets away, fires down the middle, and it's going to be intended.
Almost caught.
I believe for Kane. Vassar almost turned that into something under all kinds of pressure. And I believe that was going to be Rico Stamps with the pressure, the veteran.
Man,
we'll be polite and call him the veteran.
I don't understand. Rico is along the lines of Ray Morrow, as in you don't know how old he is until he tells you because he's still on the field.
And the ageless wonder, Rico Stamps chasing down a very young.
And still playing at a high level.
Deion Vassar's going to get to know him well. 1:11 left here, second quarter. 6-0 is your score. The Ohio Bears lead after a 7-yard touchdown pass.
If the Cobras can get the turnover on downs, or at least force them to punt, they may have good field position here.
And the Ohio Bears will take a timeout, so we'll step aside for a break. You're listening to Tri-Point Football League playoff action here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. We're back in 30 seconds. Here in the half, 4th and 27 for the Ohio Bears at their own 47-yard line. 3 turnovers so far for the Cobras have stammered the Cleveland offense.
And that's the only thing that's hurting the Cobras right now.
A little pause in the action here as the Bears will come out in a punt formation. Punter will stand at his own 38-yard line. Slow snap, going to mishandle it, and it's going to be, it's going to be, we thought blocked, but It's going to be a roughing the punter penalty on
Green.
Cleveland.
Kevin Green
And
didn't have to do that. He was already under pressure. He just had to let him kick it. This could hurt.
And the Ohio punter still down on the ground. It looks more like a cramp than it does an injury, so we'll say that Kevin Green let up on him.
And we know he's faking.
Kickers don't do that, right?
Says who?
Doesn't happen.
Says who?
Coach Gessler, call in. Tell us how you feel about kickers. So nonetheless, it looks like it's going to be a penalty.
That's not what you needed if you're the Cobras right now, because now you give the Bears 4 more downs. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping, if memory serves me right, I'm hoping that's not an automatic first down.
In college, I'm not sure if I can't remember, but they're going to say that it is. So it's going to be 1st and 10. Now for the Ohio Bears, they're going to place the ball at the Cobra 32-yard line with 1 minute left. The clock will begin to run. Bears leading 6-0. They'll take a couple shots downfield, I'm sure.
You know that's coming, Jim. You know it's coming. And why would you not? The clock is in your favor.
Well, if it wasn't for bad luck in this first half, the Cobras wouldn't have any at all. As the Bears now will come out in a 2-by-2 receiver set. Taekwon Council will be the running back to the left of Council this time. 30 seconds on a running clock. Vassar will keep it himself, take it up the middle, get out to the 30, and he'll have nowhere to go. He'll be pushed back by the Cleveland defense. Clock will continue to run.
I think they're going to either just take this into the half or take one more shot.
Well, they're going to huddle up. 14 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to take this into the half. And why would you not?
Well, and there's a clock stoppage. But it looks like the Bears will take their second timeout of the half with just 6 seconds.
While we're taking a moment, because there is a timeout, let's just acknowledge that the Cobra faithful is out in droves tonight.
A great crowd here, actually, in Lakewood on what's not a so bad night. Overcast here in Cuyahoga County. No rain, though. So it's a great night to be out.
For once.
Yes. Get a little more rain up here than we do in Youngstown, actually.
At beautiful Lakewood Stadium. I'm not even going to call it First Federal. I know it's First Federal, but it's Lakewood Stadium.
Done some work on this field this year, which kind of prevented the Cobras from getting back here, but a great job done. Beautiful facility and well located.
Very well.
Easy to find.
Very. As we said, a lot of things have changed with Lakewood Stadium because, like I said, that L in the middle of the field.
As Vassar takes a knee to run down this clock here in the first half. With the score 6-0, the Ohio Bears, the Cobras, unable to overcome 3 turnovers in the first quarter. Although they had a couple of drives going, could not put anything together and was hampered again by turnovers and penalties. We're going to step aside for a 3-minute break. When we come back, I guess it'll be a short recap for this game here, as it's only 6-0. And then we'll get you set for second half action here in Lakewood. You are listening to Tri-Point Football League playoff action on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. Back after this.
and around the world.
Halftime continues here in Lakewood. 6-0 is your score with the Ohio Bears lead. And a tight game, Ramel. I mean, it's we knew it was going to go one way or the other, and so far it hasn't been a pretty performance for Cleveland.
No, it hasn't. But the best thing about this that we can say is that you're still in this game. All right, you had 3 turnovers. The Bears score 6 off of 3 turnovers. Most teams, it'd be 21-0 right now. But because your defense has helped keep you in it, all your offense has to do is settle down and make sure you don't make the mistakes that killed you in the first half.
Well, the good news is I see a Donovan Mormon moving around the sidelines. Got some ice on his left knee, but he is moving, looks like, without any pain. So we may see him in the third quarter. You had the opportunity to listen in to Coach Adam Rogerson for Cleveland. What did he have to say that might change the tide for him?
Got to limit the mistakes. 3 turnovers in the first half. It was big, and that's not how you want to start a game off. You, as a team, you actually lead the league in turnovers. So for you to be down 3 turnovers, it kind of hurts. And expect to see a different change of pace for the Cobras in the second half as, go back to what brought you to the dance. Go back to the run game. And that's what the Cobras need to do in order to make sure that they can control and dictate the pace of this game.
Now, the tough part is those turnovers and being able to maintain possession of the football. And like you so eloquently pointed out, the defense has kept them in this game. It is by no means over. So, again, trying to clean things up. And you would hope that by week 9 of the regular season, the execution would be a little bit better.
It would, but, you lose your offensive coordinator midway through the season. You got to make some changes. And you have to, make sure the right personnel is in, which is something that the Cobras have worked on very much, and they've looked great at times. Other times they've struggled, but it's playoff time, so those mistakes need to be limited, and you gotta do what you got to do to win.
Just moments away from third quarter action here in Lakewood. As it looks like Dave Thompson will set up the kickoff team. Cobras had the ball first in the first quarter. That resulted in a turnover, giving the Bears the ball. And right now, it looks like it's going to be Willie James and Antonio Tatum back to return for the Bears. We spoke briefly with the coaching staff from the Ohio Bears, and they were certainly high on Willie James. Said watch for him on special teams. He can create some opportunity as we get the whistle for play. Thompson now getting set. And we are underway here in the second half. That ball going to James inside the 10. He'll bring it out past the 15, 20. Flag on the play, and he'll be brought down at the 25-yard line. A little bit awkwardly, but looks like he's going to get up and shake that off, hopefully.
Yeah, and hopefully, the defense, who was just already out there, has enough time to get back into play and make sure that they can get the stops and control the offensive line better than they have in the first half.
Now, one thing we're not getting are the signals up here in the press box, so we do apologize for that. We'll see where they're going to spot this ball after the penalty that we are going to assume is on the Ohio Bears. But nonetheless, it's going to be, looks like 1st and 10 at the 31. So it appears they may have waved off that flag. Again, lack of communication here between the officials and the press box. But nonetheless, 14:54 left here, third quarter, 6-0 is your score. Bears lead. And it looks like the Ohio Bears they'll have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard line. Not a bad evening here, just under 80 degrees in Lakewood. Overcast skies, no rain. Two wide receivers to the far side now. Quentin Graham will be the sole receiver to the near side. Make that 3 to the far side as Martez Johnson, he'll now go in motion from right to left. Vassar waiting for the snap. Handoff to Irby out to the right side, and he'll be brought down at the 27-yard line.
And Rico again.
Well, Nico Stamps moving sideline to sideline.
I just spoke with him as well right before halftime was over, and dude, you still kicking, man. He still got it. He still got it.
He's found the fountain of youth. I'm still looking for the fountain of middle age. So
I'm still trying to find the fountain of not being hurt in the morning.
Bears now 2nd and 10 from their own 26-yard line. Third quarter action continues here in Lakewood. Second round of the Tri-Point Football League playoffs. As Vassar now will have Irby to his left. 3 receivers to the near side. Vassar rolling out to his left, sets up. Can't find anybody. Moving around now under a little bit of pressure. Fires, and that's going to be incomplete. Intended for that's going to be intended for Kane. And it's going to be knocked away by Craig Williams.
And Craig doing a bang-up job coming down and making the play. Especially when Vassar's running around back there. You don't know if he's going to run or pass.
Kevin Green excited enough to come out in the secondary and say, hey, nice job. So 3rd and 10 now from the Bears 26-yard line. 13:39 left here, third quarter. And the Cobras would love to start this quarter on a turnover on downs or a punt.
It'd be needed.
Vassar now with 1 running back to his right, 4 wide receiver set, 3-step drop. Got pressure from behind. He's going to be brought down. Kevin Green gets him again.
And that's the momentum that they needed in order to get this second half started the way that they wanted.
All of that, only a loss of 2, but that's going to bring up 4th and 12.
Doesn't even matter. The fact that they got the sack when they needed it and the defensive lines come up big, that could be a big push in momentum.
Well, if you're the Ohio Bears, you might want to consider blocking that guy.
Please do.
You can try anyway.
That's a big boy.
Well, 52 now as the Bears will come out in a punt formation. That's going to be DeMarn Ford, the punter. As they're having a little bit of a personnel issue with the punt team. Jamal Irby will be the long snapper. The running back will come up to the line of scrimmage now. As the clock continues to run, 12-17. Bears will adjust their protection in the backfield.
Oh.
And you're going to have some motion on the left side of the line.
We saw that up here.
And that was an easy call for the officials. Tyreek Eddings.
There is no way an official could miss that call.
Tyreek Eddings just took a little step. I think he was a little bit concerned with Savon Gibson kind of stepping up on him, and Gibson's got a distinct size advantage.
All right, Savon ain't a small guy, you know. You're lined up as a blocker on punt, and you're 5'8", maybe 160 pounds. That kind of
good snap. Ford will get this away. This will be a high punt. It's going to be touched and recovered by the Ohio Bears at the 28-yard line.
Why would you even think about doing that? Just let the ball drop. Let the ball drop. Take the field position. You don't have to be a hero.
And the Bears will maintain possession on a high short kick.
That is not what you were supposed to do. You hear poison, you get away from it. You don't try and be a hero.
Cobras trying to make a play on that. But nonetheless, the Ohio Bears will stay on the field. And on the flip side of that, the Cleveland defense will remain on the field.
And that's the biggest mistake you could ever make on punt return. You don't have to be that person that causes a turnover or does something that's not recommended.
Now the Bears will have the ball 1st and 10 again from their own 26-yard line. 11-12 left here, third quarter. 4th turnover of the game for the Cobras as Vassar now on the delay handoff to Rax. He'll pick up a couple yards on the play. Trying to see if Donovan Moorman is back in the game. We know he was on the sideline trying to move around a little bit. Looked like he was walking without any kind of hitch, but we're yet to see him back in. 10:40 left here, third quarter.
Got some scores for you. The Saints end up getting the win over the Steel Valley True, 14-6. And the Ohio Gladiators are up on the Seminoles 28-0 with, I believe it's 4 minutes to go, or a minute till halftime, excuse me.
Vassar waiting for the snap. Vassar will pull the ball. He'll keep it himself. Andy Code's got a hold of him, and he'll be brought down in the backfield. They'll give him the progress, but another one of that front four coming through for the Cleveland defense.
He actually lost a couple, if I'm looking at the line of scrimmage correctly.
We'll see where they mark it. May have lost a yard on it. Hard to tell from our angle. 9:49 left here. Third quarter, the Bears with a 6-0 lead. Yep, they're actually going to say it's 3rd and 9 now, but okay. We'll take that. As Quentin Graham will be the receiver to this side, along with Martez Johnson. Vassar in the shotgun. Vassar back to pass, 3-step drop, fires out to his right. It's going to be tipped.
Oh!
And incomplete. I thought Rico Stamps had a shot at it if he had caught it just a second earlier.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and that could have been big too.
4th and 9 now from the Bears' 28-yard line. Another opportunity for the Cobras to get off the field.
And if there is another punt, let's make sure nobody touches it from the Cobra side.
I don't think that's too much to ask. As we wait for the punt personnel to come on. And Ford will be the punter. Jamal Irby will be the long snapper. And Tyree Knight will be the returner. And we got a flag on the play. So illegal substitution against the Bears. That'll knock them back 5 to the 23-yard line. And I'm sure, again, the Cobras will gladly take that.
Why would you not?
Field position is going to be huge. As the Cobra offense has been on the sideline a really long time.
And if you're the Cobras defense, you have to look at them when they get on the field and say, help me out.
So we'll try the punt again for the Ohio Bears. 4th and 14 from their own 23-yard line. Tyree Knight waiting for the punt. Good snap. He'll get it away. It'll be a decent punt. It'll land at the 45. It'll roll. This time the Cobras will get away from it. And it looks like the beanbag went down at the 39. They'll make it the 38-yard line. So the Cobras will have the ball 1st and 10 from their own 38-yard line. 8:12 left here, third quarter, with the Bears leading 6-0.
This is the time you look at your offense and you say, it's gut check time. You have to put something together, get a drive going to where you can put points on the board and get momentum back in your favor.
And not a lot of two-way players here for this Cleveland team. So they should be fresh on offense. A little bit more in terms of players going both ways for the Bears. As we see Rax and Irby, among others, on the defense for the Bears. We talked last week, or 2 weeks ago, about the need to travel well during the playoffs, as Thompson now will be in the backfield, one running back to each side, one receiver to the near side, and a tight formation to the left side as they move left to right. And a handoff up the middle, out to the 40, down at the 41-yard line. That's going to be Brandon Davis on the run. He's one of the bigger running backs.
And again, that's the beauty of having a plethora of running backs at your disposal if you're the Cobras.
I'm going to say it's a pickup of 4, so we'll call it 2nd and 6 for the Cobras as they approach midfield. Wasn't sure the chain crew was kind of going back and forth, but they've got it figured out now. 7:36 on the rolling clock. Cobras trying to put together one good drive, as Andre Daniels now will be the receiver to the near side.
And that's all you need, Jim, really, is one good drive. Keep your defense off the field. You know, maybe takes a couple minutes off, but you score.
Thompson now with a low snap. He'll pick it up, take it upfield, past the 45. He'll make it to midfield into Bear territory and down to the 47-yard line. That'll be a Cleveland Cobras first down.
Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, and slap Thompson down the field.
The veteran finding some room up there. A couple of big guys in front of him. He's taking advantage of that. He's going to have Rocky Moss and Brandon Davis back there. If you get behind those two, that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. And it actually saves you.
They'll stay in the formation with Andre Daniels, the lone wide receiver. Two tight receivers to the other side. Moss and Davis are going to be the running backs to each hip of Thompson. Thompson firing downfield, looking for Daniels. And it's going to be intercepted at the 15-yard line. Out to the 20, 30, 35, and he'll be pushed out of bounds just short of the 40-yard line. Philip Richardson on the interception for the Ohio Bears, and that'll be turnover number 5 for the Browns, or excuse me, for the Browns, for the Cobras.
I was about to say, the Browns actually played pretty decent last night.
Wow. Sorry, Cleveland.
I mean, if Thompson puts a little more oomph on that, we're looking at a touchdown because Daniels had a step. You know, it's just sometimes the luck of the draw doesn't go your way. You got to figure something out.
The play design, not a bad thing. Looking for the receiver, the lone receiver, had what they wanted, but again, trying to step up and throw that ball and get it downfield was a problem. And now the Ohio Bears will have the ball first and 10 at their own 40-yard line. 6:25 left here in the third quarter. Only a 6-0 game. The Bears score early in the first quarter, and it has been the defenses since then. Bears now in a 2-by-2 receiver set. Vassar waiting for the snap. Vassar flat-footed, looking to throw, rolls out to his left, trying to direct traffic under pressure. Andy Code's got a shot at him. He's going to bring him down at the 30-yard line.
Way to stick with it, Andy Code.
That's going to be a loss of 10 for the Bears. 2nd and 20 now for the Ohio Bears.
Way to stick with it. That's what you need. You need your defense to come up big for you.
And that front four continues to impress for the Cobras, even though they've been on the field for the majority of the game.
And that's okay because, you know, the momentum is in the Cobras' favor. They just haven't been able to capitalize on it. You've gotten stops. You're getting to the quarterback. You're getting sacks. Everything is looking like it's shaping up for you to perform something big.
Graham and Johnson will be the receivers to the near side in the 2-by-2 formation. Handoff up the middle out to the 30, out to the 35, and he'll fight his way out to the 38-yard line, and they'll be short of the first down. Oh, excuse me, that's going to be double sticks there, so it's going to be, we'll call it 3rd and 12. We'll guess. And indeed it will be 3rd and 12 for the Bears.
Now, if they can keep the Bears from getting to the sticks, this will help them out a lot.
And good news, Donovan Mormon coming in. He went down late in the second quarter on a chop block.
And he is needed.
We'll see how he looks. As Savon Gibson will be on the end. And
you got to watch the hard count, fellas.
Donovan is back, but he's going to jump the A-gap. And
it's 3rd down. They want you to jump, make 3rd down easier for them. So now it's a 3rd and 7. What do you do if you're the Cobras defense?
Stay on your side of the line. So Mormon getting a little excited there as he comes back in for his first play. Martez Johnson will check in for the Bears. For some reason, looked like he was coming off the Cobra sideline, but we'll roll with it. Vassar waiting for the snap. 3rd and 7 from their own 43-yard line. Back to pass. Fires over the middle. Incomplete.
Lucky break. That receiver was wide open.
That pass was intended for Cameron Needham. Thrown behind him. He couldn't come back to get it.
Needham not only short, but just short of catching the pass. Hard to reach back for those.
So 4th and 7 now for the Bears. They're on 43-yard line. Sure, they're going to try the punt formation again as Ford will come out the punt. Irby will be the long snapper.
If you are the Cobras, stay away from the ball if it's short.
Tyree Knight will be back to return for the Cobras. Wearing 25 today and not 7. Had a jersey mishap, we'll call it, when he got here today. So now we only have one number 7 in Robert Littlejohn.
Which stops most of the confusion.
Joe Pettis will be back as a protector as Ford will have his heels on his own 28-yard line. High snap. Ford will come over and get it. He'll get it off. It's a high kick short. It'll hit around the 43-yard line, and this time they will let it roll down to the 34-yard line.
And
so
now you have decent position, field position to do what you need to do, which is push the ball down the field and into the end zone.
Cobras will take over 1st and 10 here with 3:22 left in the third quarter, trying to put something together.
You had something going. Honestly, the run was working.
Well, they'll see if they can go back. We're going to that big package formation in the backfield. That was a lot to stop. So 1st and 10 from the Cobras' 34-yard line. 56 yards away from the end zone. Trying to tie this game up before the end of the third quarter. As they'll continue with 2 big running backs. And with Thompson in the backfield, 1 receiver to the near side. 1 stand-up wing tight. Thompson with the handoff, and it's going to be blown up in the backfield. No gain on the play.
Big number 54, once again.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about him. You could see chatter throughout the team evaluations during the week, and they talked about him, trying to keep him out of the backfield. And they're talking about Ronald Burrell.
And he's a menace. You know, Burrell's not a small guy. By no stretch of the imagination, by no means. He's not small. So you have to find a way to keep him away from the line of scrimmage as much as possible.
He's been a big part of the scouting as Dominic Klotman will now be in the backfield with Rocky Moss. 1 to each hip of Thompson. Thompson with the read. He'll take it himself off the left side and out to the 35-yard line. He'll pick up a couple on the play.
Yeah, these Bear defenders are really good tacklers in space. You know, you see a guy like Thompson coming down, you have to make the tackle, but you don't want to tackle him head up, so the best thing to do is go at the knees.
Klotman will check out. Emmett Calhoun will check in for the Cobras. 2:07 as the clock continues to run here in Lakewood. 6-0 is your score. The Ohio Bears lead. Their score coming very early in the first quarter. Again, it's been all defense since then, both sides of the field. Angelo Thompson will be the sole receiver to the near side, moving left to right. As Thompson now will be in a pistol formation. Moss and Calhoun in the backfield. Pitch out to Calhoun. He's going to drop it. He's going to try to find it, try to make something out of it. And he's going to be brought down in the backfield. Najee Rax making the initial hit.
You got to be frustrated as a Cobras fan now, because now you see, you have to come up with plays that work. And I'm not saying that play wouldn't have worked, but usually you got to stick to what brought you to the dance. And up the middle, maybe a bounce outside. The zone read is there. These plays are there. You just have to get the offense going. And the offense looks very disoriented right now.
Yeah, frustration setting in. Emma Calhoun a little disappointed with himself, you can tell. 48 seconds left here in the third quarter as Rocky Moss will come out for the Cobras punt. Fourth and 17 from the Cobras 27-yard line. Looking for one more on the field. Tyree Knight will come in to fill that position if he can find it. Moss with the snap And it's going to be a line drive punt inside the 45 down to the 40. It'll be fielded, brought out to midfield. 40 into the Cobras territory, down inside the 30, and down to the 28-yard line.
It looks like a fumble.
The Ohio Bears will end up a great field position.
Oh, no, they say it's down.
And no celebration by the Cobras there, but that's going to be another great return by Willie James for the Ohio Bears.
And that's what you didn't want to happen if you're the Cobras defense, because now you're starting in the red zone or close to the red zone.
5 seconds left here in the third quarter. Fourth quarter action coming up. It's going to be a tight one, as it will be the Bears with the ball 1st and 10 on their own 26-yard line with a 6-point advantage.
Yeah, if you're the Cobras defense, now is the time to tighten up.
Martez and Graham will be the receivers to the near side. Vassar with the snap, handoff up the middle. And the contact made in the backfield. Rico Stamps. He's going to bring down the big man, Stephen Bennett.
If it's one thing I know about Rico, Rico's always been one to hit the biggest guy on the field and not care. You could be 7'6", and he's going to hit you with everything he's got, and you're going down.
Loss of a couple on the play. That's going to bring us to the end of the third quarter, where your score is the Ohio Bears 6, the Cleveland Cobras nothing. We're going to step aside for a 60-second break. You're listening to Tri-Point Football League action right here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. Back after this.
During the fall and winter,
Fourth quarter underway here in Lakewood. And this round 2 playoff game for the Tri-Point Football League. Vassar waiting for the snap. He'll hand off out to the right side, out past the 25, and down at the 22-yard line. A flag will come in. That's going to be Rax on the run. But they're going to say it's going to be a hold against the Cobras, I believe was the initial indication, as the officials are going to talk about it near the Cobra sideline.
And there's no rules against grabbing a jersey when you're trying to make a tackle.
You know, something, not sure. Again, they're not giving us the signals up here in the press box. We do apologize for that. So whatever we get is the preliminary call and then the enforcement of the penalty. But nope, they're going to wave this off. No flag on the play. It didn't happen. So
I was going to say.
Somehow we've got a Bears coach on the sideline. Now we had a player down on this side. He came over to check him out. Okay, we'll clear that right up.
Yeah, there was a player down, but I don't know what the ref was looking at to throw the flag, considering it was a defender ball carrier interaction.
Now Cameron Needham was the player down for the Bears. He got up on his own and made his way to the Ohio Bears sideline. 14:53 left here in this game. 6-0 is your score. The Bears now 3rd and 7 from their own 28-yard line. 4 wide receiver set, as Graham and Johnson will be the far wide receivers. Kane will be the outside receiver to the near side. Vassar waiting for the snap. Pump fakes. Roll out to his right. Under pressure. He gets rid of it, and he's going to throw that into the track. And a smart play.
That was very smart because his life was on the line.
and there's a flag on the play. Both teams pointing in the opposite direction. Came in very late. We know it wasn't hit on the quarterback, but it came at midfield as the umpire calls for the ball. Again, we're kind of baffled on what the call is. So with the Cobras, the flag was picked up, and it looks like it's going to be against the Bears, but they're not going to tell us what the penalty was.
Man, where are these? You would think the refs are getting ready for the season as the high school season starts next week. So,
well, it'll be a mystery to all of us here, as it was a 5-yard penalty. So now 3rd and 12 from the Cobras 28-yard line. 14-15 left here in this 6-0 game. Vassar with 3 receivers to the far side, waits for the snap. He's going to roll out to his left. Plenty of time now under pressure, and he's going to get past the 30. 25 taking himself inside the 20, and he'll be out at the 10-yard line. And depending on where he went out, we'll call it 1st and goal for the Bears.
the problem with that is you see him running and you don't even push him towards the sideline. Like, he hit the edge and he just kept going. You got to push him out, prevent a first down like that. You know Vassar's a mobile quarterback. You have to keep him to where he's scared to run the ball. And the Cobras just gave up.
You really have to contain on him, as Andy Code will come off the field. And it looks like Rocky Moss will give him a break. Again, this Cleveland defense has been on the field most of the game. As Vassar now with the 4 wide receiver set. Handoff out to the right side, past the 15. Trying to find the 10. Contact will be made, and he'll be brought down at the 8-yard line. Noah Prentice on the carry for the Bears.
And Prentice ran hard and got what he needed. Every yard is getting him closer to a first down.
13:02 on a running clock. Time and opportunity dwindling for the Cobras. Defensively, they've only got so much, but they've probably been on this field, I would say, well over 60% of the game.
You'd be absolutely correct. In a 60-minute game, you're on the field longer than 30 minutes or longer than 20. I'll say that. It tires out your defense.
Prentice will be now the running back to the left of Vassar. 12:30 left. Hand off to Prentice. Prentice trying to cut back. Cuts back upfield inside the 5 and down at the 4-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line for the Bears.
I think that actually might have gave him a first down.
Savon Gibson coming off the field, limping a little, trying to find a replacement for him. Looks like Justin Harrod's going to go in for him.
Rico's coming off as well.
Yep, Brandon Fleming will check in the secondary.
Fatigue might have caught up with everybody.
So the Cobras trying to find fresh legs as it's now 1st and goal from the 4. Fourth quarter action here, 11:57 left. Vassar waiting for the snap. Handoff up the middle. Looking for the end zone. Robert Littlejohn's going to get him and bring him back.
Great tackle by Littlejohn.
He'll bring him back to the 6-yard line.
Great tackle. You cannot ask for a better textbook touchdown saving tackle than that.
A loss of a couple for the Bears now. 2nd and 6 with 11.5 minutes left. Bears knocking on the door again in Cobra territory. They've been there all night long, but the defense has held.
And this is where the defense earns their money.
Vassar again with Prentice to his left. Vassar with the handoff. Ball on the ground. And we'll see who has it. It's in a pile.
Anything can happen at the bottom of a pile.
The officials trying to pull it apart, see who has it. And it looks like the Bears are going to retain it. We haven't gotten the official signal, but I'm sure possession's changed a couple of times under that pile.
Who knows? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And the Bears will retain possession of the ball. Kevin Green trying to get in there to get it. Bring up third down and goal for the Ohio Bears at their own 6-yard line. Well, I think they're going to give them credit for a yard, so we'll make it first and goal from the 5. Bears trying to put one in the end zone against this very fatigued Cleveland defense. And the Bears will take a timeout. I'm sure the Cobras won't complain. We're going to step aside for a 30-second break. You're listening to Tri-Point Football League playoff action here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network.
Whether you are a professional football
Yard line. 10-16 left here, fourth quarter. 6-0 is the Bears' lead. They're trying to extend that by 6. This fatigued Cleveland defense has stood up well here all game long.
And the Bears have 2 chances to put it in. You could possibly put this game on ice.
Vassar now waiting for the snap. Irby, the running back. The receivers are going to tighten up. They'll be inside the numbers. Adjustments being made as Vassar now waits for the snap. Back to pass, looking out to his left. A little bit of room to run. He's going to be under pressure. He's going to be brought down. Rico stamps, and the ball's loose on the ground. It's picked up, and it's going to be a Cleveland turnover, and he is gone. 95 yards for the Cobras touchdown.
Make sure there aren't any flags, because that's big.
And I do believe that's going to be Tamir Stevens. 95 yards to tie this game up as we have a Cobra down at the 44-yard line. I'm not sure what happened, but nonetheless, fumble on the play, no flags. They'll check on the Cleveland player, but Tamir Stevens goes 95 yards.
And that's what you needed as a defense. Look, your offense gave up 5 turnovers. Okay. You still got a lot of game to play. The turnover you needed just gave you points and life in this game. 95 yards, I'm not going to complain.
Well, the all-important conversion coming up here, which at this point could be a huge difference in this game. You win it 7-6, 8-6, it doesn't matter either way.
Win is a win.
So they're going to attend to a injured player on the field. Everybody's crowding around him, so we don't know who it is. We'll wait to get a number.
Hopefully he's okay, but that play was huge.
We want to make sure we're responsible with giving out information when it comes to player injuries like this.
We do apologize for not having an instant replay capability, but believe me when we tell you, you can always rewind it and see that play for what it's worth.
Rico Stamps all excited now. May have caught his breath. He'll be back in, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
9:54 left here in the fourth quarter. It's all tied up at 6. We're going to step aside for a 60-second break. When we come back, we'll give you an update on the injured player and continue fourth quarter action right here at First Federal Lakewood Stadium. You're listening to Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. Back after this. Back here at First Federal Lakewood Stadium, Robert Littlejohn being helped off the field. Not really sure what happened. He kind of trailed the play a little bit, but looking a little woozy. Got some help off the field by some of his players.
Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, he's been a big part of this Cleveland defense all year long. Big part tonight, as a matter of fact. But the story of the moment right now, we're all tied up at 6 with the all-important two-point conversion coming for the Cobras.
And this is big, too, because if they can get this, imagine the momentum the defense will come out with on this next possession.
Well, at this point, you're in the playoffs. A 7-6 win is just as good, so I'm sure.
You are absolutely right, but at the same time, that momentum could be big. Imagine what this turns into now. The Cobras defense comes out with their hair on fire.
Well, the offense will owe the defense dinner tonight, should they be able to pull this one off. Jerron Robertson moving around a little bit with a little more pep in his step after having a rough first quarter. And they'll have plenty of time to draw up a two-point conversion play. Interestingly enough, the officials have gathered at the 25-yard line, and they are talking about something as the Cobras prepare for the two-point conversion. The Ohio Bears stand by intently, listening to the conference to find out what the deal is. No flags on the play.
I didn't see any flags either, so there shouldn't be a problem there.
Now the question is, will there be a flag for the blindside block, as the referee is now brought the head coaches in, and we'll try to get some kind of indication if maybe there was a blindside block that would have caused the injury to Robert Littlejohn. And again, he did come off the field. As a matter of fact, trying to find him on the sideline. So he's kind of turning himself around, so maybe a back injury, not real sure. Thought initially maybe some kind of hit to the head. But again, we don't want to speculate on the injury. The good news, he's sitting down there under his own power, trying to stretch out, work things out for himself. With 9:54 left here in the game. And again, we don't know what the conference was with the officials. But nonetheless, it looks like the touchdown will stand, but they are spotting the ball at the 17-yard line.
Which would be some type of penalty that we
some
don't
kind
know
of
about.
Personal foul.
Maybe excessive celebration, who knows?
So the all-important two-point conversion just became a little bit tougher. As Jerron Robertson comes on the field. Rocky Moss will be to the right of Thompson. D'Angelo Thompson and Emma Calhoun will be the receivers to the left. Thompson stepping up in the pocket, fires to the end zone. It's going to be caught. I'm not sure I don't know if he went in the end zone or not. Did they call it good? Okay, so he did put the ball over. He wanted to be sure. That's going to be a 17-yard conversion. And the Cobras, after having the offense not been on the field pretty much at all, take an 8-6 lead.
And that's what they needed. It's poetry in motion when the offense is on the field and they actually do what they need to do to get the ball rolling. The defense is what kick-started the spark. So let's see how the defense for the Cobras comes out this next possession.
9:54 left here in this one. And if I told you that the Cobras are up 8-6 in the fourth quarter after having seen the first couple of minutes of play, you would have called me crazy. But nonetheless, that defense, who has been on the field most of this game, comes up big.
Big is not the word I had. They came through humongously.
So fumble by the Ohio Bears. And wow, how things change quickly.
And that's we've been saying it all game. One play can turn this game around, and there it was. Now, if the defense can keep it up, they come out with this next drive with their hair on fire, you know, the tide of this game could turn.
And there's the good news, bad news scenario. The good news is you're up 8-6. The bad news is your defense is going right back to the field, hopefully with a little bit of momentum.
Maybe that break in between gave them a little incentive.
And again, that was Tamir Stevens He picks up the fumble, goes 95 yards for the Cobra touchdown. Slap Thompson on for the kickoff. 9:54 left in the game. 8-6 is your score. The Cobras lead. And the Cardiac Kids of the Tri-Point Football League keep it interesting.
It will definitely have you on the edge of your seat for no reason.
Thompson's kick will land around the 15 and be fielded, brought out to the 20, 25, 30, out to the 34-yard line. We'll see where they mark it at. That's where the Bears will take over, 1st and 10. Get a final spot for them. It looks like the 32-yard line, actually. 9:48 left here in the game. Beautiful night here in Lakewood. Beautiful facility. And great playoff football action here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. I want to thank Jesse Caldwell for having us. Clock stopped now. They're actually going to mark the ball at the 33, so we'll split the difference.
And to update you people at home for other playoff games, we told you earlier that the Saints won 14-6. The Gladiators are now up 35-0 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter with a rolling clock.
And the Cobras are going to take a timeout. We'll step aside for a 30-second break. You're listening to Tri-Point playoff action right here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. Back after this.
At Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
First and 10 for the Bears at their own 33-yard line. 9:48 left here in this game. 8-6 is the Cleveland Cobras lead. Vassar waiting for the snap. Fires out to his left, complete at the 30. He'll take it up to the 35 and down to the 37-yard line. They'll give him the 36. How's that? So 2nd and 6 now. Make that 2nd and 5. For the Bears, we're going to try to rebound and answer the touchdown by the Cobras.
Again, if you're the Cobras, you got to play with some intensity.
Vassar now one running back to his left receivers. 2-by-2 moving left to right. He'll hand off out to the right side. That'll be Irby trying to find the 40, and he'll be brought down at the 44-yard line. And that will be enough for a Bears first down. Really have to compliment the Ohio Bears with Damon Gore and head coach Buddy Williams. First-year organization, not too bad.
Yeah. And you know, like we said last week or 2 weeks ago, Columbus is a hotbed for talent. So, you know, between them and the Fire, you got talent to spread out, and it looks good. On paper, not a lot of people expected them to be good as a first-year team, but here they are, a playoff team, in a tight game with a division rival. You know, the sky's the limit for the Bears.
So for 3 receivers now to the far side. I think the receiver got a head start. Vassar rolling out to his left. Andy Code on the chase. He fires. It's going to be complete at the 47-yard line. May have picked up a 3 on that.
And Andy Code is making Vassar very uncomfortable back there.
Well, pressure has been good for the Cobras. Vassar has handled it well.
He has. But the fact that you know people are gunning at you named Kevin Green, Savon Gibson, and Andy Code, and a Donovan Mormon, it's scary.
Now, the good news is here we did see Robert Littlejohn on the field. He did walk out there, so Glad to see that. No injury, not a serious injury. Even if it was, he'd probably still play.
A lot of these guys would.
3 receivers to the near side now for Vassar. As we're going to have a stoppage in play. It looks like the Cobras are going to take a timeout. So we'll step aside for 30 seconds for this one as the Cobras lead 8-6. Back after this.
Sandrock Concrete.
Back as we come out of the Cobras timeout. 7:31 left here, fourth quarter. Cleveland with the 8-6 lead over the Ohio Bears. And the Bears will now come out in a 4 wide receiver set, 2x2. Vassar in the shotgun still. Lights on here at the stadium. Handoff to Irby. Irby, they'll make contact with him. He's going to drag one Cobras player into Cleveland territory. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bears at the Cobra 45-yard line. And Donovan Mormon's going to come off the field.
Yeah, Mormon's knee looks like he tweaked it a little bit.
And you talked about the Columbus Fire. They are in Huntsville, Alabama today.
Wow.
Taking on the Rockets. It is 8-8 down in Huntsville with the Columbus Fire.
And that's the thing about the GDFL is that they really are national.
Irby with the handoff again out to the 40, 35, and down to the 33-yard line. Make it to 32. It'll be another Bears first down.
And Cobra's defense has got to tighten up right about now. The clock is running. It's 6:58 left. And they're going in a hurry up. Cobras have to tighten up.
Vassar and Irby will remain in. 4 wide receiver set, Vassar. He's going to give it to Rax this time, out past the 30, 25. He'll fight his way down to the 20-yard line.
And Rax is running with authority.
And it's going to be good enough for another Bears first down. 6:39 on the running clock. And we're going to have a stoppage in play. We'll keep it right here. With 6:33 left, I think the Cobras took another timeout.
Can't keep wasting timeouts like that. You may need them.
Yeah, Jeremiah Grayson limping off the field. He'll need some attention. Although he got to the sideline, looks all right. And we apologize. Officials not giving us a whole lot to work with right now as Jerron Robertson will check in into the secondary.
Jim, even in retirement, the refs still don't even like us.
It's that dark cloud that hangs over Cleveland. So Vassar now waiting for the snap. Rax with the handoff out to the left side. And he's going to be brought down at the 15-yard line. Clock will continue to run. 5:55 left here in this playoff game. Cobras with an 8-6 lead. Unfortunately, the offense hasn't been productive enough that you can depend on them at this point if the Bears were to get into the end zone.
Well, they got you a 2-point conversion.
A 17-yard 2-point conversion. So
you don't see too many of those.
Fantastic throw by Dave Thompson. As Bears now with Prentice, handoff up the middle. He'll make one cut. And he'll be brought down just short of the 10-yard line.
Great tackle. But 2 Cobras in the backfield, you got to make that tackle. You cannot let a running back get loose like that.
Well, the Bears know that the Cobras are pretty tired. And the Cobras are going to take a timeout with 5:10 left here in the game. So we'll take a timeout also. 5:10 left here in Lakewood. The score is 8-6 Cobras. You're listening to Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network. Back after 5:10 left here in this game. Bears on the drive. 3rd and 1 now from the Cobra 11-yard line. As Vassar, who has gone the whole way for the Bears, waits for the snap. Irby with the handoff. Flag on the play. He'll be brought down at the 5-yard line. We'll see what the flag is.
Could it be a false start? Holding?
And by the reaction of the Cobras, we're going to say it's going to be against them. Craig Williams looks a little confused. And again, I don't know if the officials don't know that we're up here or what the deal is, but we're not getting any of the signals, so we do apologize.
They know we're here. They see the lights on.
Well, it's that lights on, nobody's home deal, I guess. So, yeah, we'll call that half the distance. So it should be 1st and goal.
They definitely, like I said, even in retirement, they still don't like us. And we're not even playing. We're in the booth.
The Bears 1st and goal from the Cobras 4-yard line. 4:48 on the running clock left here in Lakewood. Lights are on. The sun is down. As Vassar waits for the snap. Handoff to Prentice. He's looking for the end zone. Into the end zone for the Bears 4-yard touchdown. And they take a 14-8 lead with 4:35 left here in the game.
The defense is tired. And then when the Bears are running the ball the way that they are, you have to figure out a way to stop the run.
Two-point conversion attempt coming up for the Bears. Four and a half minutes to go here in the game. Long time to go now as Vassar will set up his offense with Prentice again to his left. Vassar looking to throw, and it's going to be complete in the back of the end zone for the two-point conversion. And if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be Quentin Graham on the catch. $14-8 is the score. Excuse me. Yep, 14-8. We'll get that right as we have a player down near the end zone. So if you are now the Cleveland offense, it is now going to be up to you. You haven't had a lot of success tonight, but now's the opportunity to put something together.
And you don't have a choice but to put something together because the game is on the line.
And we got a player down there. Both teams coming around to check on him. We'll take a 30-second break. When we come back, we'll give you an update on the injured player and finish out the last 4.5 minutes here in Lakewood. You're listening to Western Reserve Radio on the 216 Sports Network. Back in 30.
Mill Creek Golf Course features 2 18-hole.
For tax-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
4:35 left here in this game here at First Federal Lakewood Stadium. 14-8 is the score. The Ohio Bears take the lead again on a 4-yard touchdown run. And now it'll be up to the Cleveland offense to put something together as Emmett Calhoun and And Lamar Hill.
And if you're the Bears, you do not kick to either one of them because there is a strong possibility they can bust that return open.
Ford with the deep high kick. It's going to land at the 17. Picked up by Calhoun outside the 20, 30, 35. And he'll take it out to the 38-yard line.
I just said, and it gives them great field position.
Well, as we talked about earlier, kicking not really the strong part of the game at this level of football.
Very true, very true. Unicorns, kickers,
Yep.
They all run the same.
To the sideline would be a good idea. Kick it to the sideline.
You're better off finding a pot of gold and a bowl of Lucky Charms than you are a kicker.
First and 10 for the Cobras at the 38-yard line. They have 4.5 minutes to find some way to put points up on the board. They trail 14-8.
And it's still a lot of game left in order to get this game back to where you want it, which is you ahead of the Bears on the scoreboard.
4 offensive turnovers for the Cobras today have hurt their efforts. As Dave Thompson now will be in the shotgun. Dominic Klotman to his left. 4 wide receiver set. 4:31 left here. The box loaded as Klotman takes the ball out past the 40, and he'll turn and churn his way to the 45-yard line.
That's a great run on first down.
So 2nd and 3 for the Cobras. And again, the running game has been successful with them. I don't know if they've been patient enough for it to develop, though.
And you should be, because one, this is playoff football, and two, you need the run game. If you potentially have a rematch with the Gladiators if you can pull this one out.
4 wide receiver set again. Thompson waiting for the snap. 3:54 left in the game. Quick pass out to the far side. It'll be complete out past midfield, out to the 48-45. And Emmett Calhoun will take it to the 42-yard line.
And this is what you should have been doing all game. The screen game has been working for you all season. Why wait till the last 3-4 minutes of the game to go to it? This should have been done all game.
And one thing they love to do is get the ball to their playmakers out in open space.
And why not? You got to do it.
3:31 left here in the game. Clock continues to run. 14-8 your score. The Cobras trail. 4 wide receiver set now. Thompson with the handoff. Klotman will be hit in the backfield. Nowhere to go. Maybe a loss of 2 on the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 12 now for the Cobras. Clock continuing to run here with just 3 minutes. You look back at those timeouts, and I'm sure they would love to have those right now.
Yeah, I was saying you got to save at least one.
I don't think they're showing enough urgency here on offense, but nonetheless.
Truthfully, at this point, you still got time to go 50 yards. If you can get the play right, the clock will take care of itself.
Jerron Robertson in high motion. He'll get the ball. He'll try to find room to get upfield, and it'll be an ankle tackle at the 47-yard line in Bears territory. Clock will continue to run with 2:27 left.
It's time to use what got you to the dance. No trick plays. Get down the field. The clock is not your friend right now, and you don't have any timeouts.
Cleveland looking for a miracle as we approach the 2-minute mark here in Lakewood. Very difficult to beat a team 3 times in a year. The Cobras with 2 wins in the regular season over the Ohio Bears.
The playoffs is where it matters.
Thompson now with Klotman to his left. 4 wide receiver set. 1:55 left here in the game. Whoa. And the Bears are going to come across the line. That'll stop the clock and give the Cobras 5.
He was definitely antsy on that one.
So it'll be 3rd and 5 from the 42-yard line. A little bit more manageable, but 4-down territory nonetheless.
Yes, with the win tonight for the Gladiators, it's just been confirmed. With the win tonight, if the Cobras can come back from behind and win, there will be a rematch with the Gladiators next week.
And the Gladiators finishing the season undefeated in the Tri-Point Football League. Thompson with the snap, three-step drop. Looks out to his right, under pressure. He's going to be brought down in the backfield at midfield, right at the stripe. Clock's going to run 1:38.
And you got to get up.
Cleveland's got to get back to the line.
Have a sense of urgency.
Adam Rogerson out on the field trying to yell something into the offense, but they're taking their time.
What is Calhoun doing over there?
3rd and 13. Not really sure, to be quite honest. 1:10 left here.
The clock is running, and why are you wasting time on it? Man, this is not going in your favor.
Trip receivers to the near side now, moving right to left on your devices. Thompson waiting for the snap. And we're going to have a stoppage in play. And the Bears will take a timeout with 55 seconds left here in the game. We'll keep it right here.
And that actually saves the Cobras for whatever reason, because I cannot figure out for the life of me why Calhoun was on the Bears sideline.
So the lack of urgency, a little concerning for Cleveland. They have 55 seconds to go 50 yards. 2-point conversion notwithstanding.
Well, as it looks, looking at the bracket, with the Saints winning, it'll be the Saints hosting whoever comes out of the Hawks and Kings game on the Pennsylvania side, I guess. And then for the Ohio division, or Ohio side, if the Cobras can somehow come back and win this game, either way, either team will be going to Canton/Alliance to play the Gladiators, as the Gladiators are the #1 seed.
Yeah, Chris Ballantyne doing a good job over there with the Ohio Gladiators.
And congrats to the Gladiators, as this is their first undefeated season in team history.
Something to be said for that.
A lot to be said for that.
4 wide receiver set now. 4th and 13 from the midfield stripe. Thompson with a low snap. Stepping up in the pocket. Under pressure, he fires, and it's going to be intercepted at the 45-yard line. And that will do it. Andre Daniel trying to pull the ball away. But it looks like the Ohio Bears will get out of Lakewood with a 14-8 win over the Cleveland Cobras. And to say it's disappointing would be a complete understatement.
It is disappointing because all season the Cobras have fought, and they've tried to get, the ship back in order. And they get to the playoffs. They host a playoff game for the first time in a long time. This is not the way you wanted to go out as a Cobra, I'm sure.
Now, in terms of characteristics, this is the type of game that it has been with these two teams in their 3 meetings. So not surprising, but again, it's hard to beat the same team 3 times. You get to know each other pretty well.
It is very hard to beat the same team 3 times in the same year. So, as broadcasters, we expected this game to be that way. But looking at the Cobras' body language, you got to think that they were thinking differently.
Other scores locally from around the region, the Upstate Predators, they get the upset win over the Erie Express, 14-7 in Erie. And right now, the Columbus Fire and the Huntington Rockets are all tied up at 8. They're going to let this clock run. There's no way for the Cobras to stop it. And that will bring an end to the Cobras' inaugural Tri-Point football season. And to say they're disappointed at the outcome of this, we can understand, but there has been some improvements. There has been some change in this organization with Adam Rogerson, Jesse Caldwell doing a great job, the personnel, the mixture of veterans and new players, and a lot to build on.
Yeah, it's a whole lot to build on. I mean, look at the way this team has been the past couple of years. You get beat on in the GDFL, not because you're a bad team, but because those teams are solid. They've been around the block a couple times. You get to the Tri-Point League, new head coach, new system. It started off rocky, but at the same time, you bounce back. You look good these last couple of weeks, win or lose, and you've kept your composure. You've held your head high. You've shown what it is to be a Cobra.
So your final score here tonight, the Ohio Bears 14, the Cleveland Cobras 8. We're going to step aside for a 60-second break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up from Lakewood. You are listening to Tri-Point Football League playoff action here on Western Reserve Radio and the Sports Network. Final from Lakewood here. The Cleveland Cobras fall to the Ohio Bears 14-8. The Bears get their first win over the Cleveland Cobras. The Cobras going 2-0 against this Columbus franchise in the regular season. But again, we talked about some of the veterans. We talked about new players, a lot to build on. Again, the disappointment's going to be there for a while. You and I have been there. And I like Adam Rogerson's rule. It's a 24-hour rule. You don't say anything.
Exactly, and you keep it that way. You know, yes, this it sucks to lose in the playoffs. Nobody wants to lose in the playoffs. But we've all done it at least once. You know, you got to suffer.
Some of us more than once.
Yeah, some of us more than once. But the point is, you learn from it. You learn what you don't want to go through again next season. You don't want to go through the heartache. You don't want to go through the disappointment. You know what you need to fix in the offseason. Now you have to put the work in to fix it. Adam Rogerson has got this group headed in the right direction. And with Jesse being the team owner that he is, you can't help but feel like this team is going to go places and they're going to bounce back and they're going to be better than they were this year.
Yeah, when we talk about the Ohio Bears again, a new franchise this year. I'm not sure how much experience is on that side of the field. But again, ownership over there, we talk about Damon Gore, who's done a really good job putting this together. They're going to have a lot of growing to do, and they're going to improve as they go on just by virtue of the fact they're going to learn what works for them and what doesn't. But you've been on both ends of it as far as new teams, veteran teams, and this is not easy, but they're doing a good job this year.
And they've done a great job because, you know, most teams in their first year don't really do well. They get hammered a lot, and then you know, a lot of guys drop off by the wayside just because they don't want to be part of something special or help build something special. And then with the Bears, being in Columbus, you know, you can't help but be part of that special, close-knit group of guys who say, hey, we made it our first year. We can only go up from here.
Yeah, it certainly has been an exciting season here for the Cleveland Cobras. A lot of growing pains, but I'll tell you, so much to work with here in the Cleveland area. We look forward to the 2023 season. Of course, this may not be the end of us for the year. We'll talk about that after we go off the air. We'll keep you up to date on all the social media mediums. We want to thank you for joining us here on Western Reserve Radio and the 216 Sports Network on whatever platform you were listening on. And we look forward to having you again as we have more live events coming up here in 2022. For our engineer back in the Gessler Propane studio, Dave Ferris.
Shout
and
out to
Odie.
Dave.
And Odie, who was sitting there next to him looking at all the pretty lights. For Matt Craven, for Ramel Thorpe, I'm Jim Craven. Again, thanks for joining us tonight. Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you soon.
Peace.
We thank you for joining us for the